At 37 years old, right in my arms, right in that very living room, he drank himself to death. And I watched his soul leave his eyes, and I did CPR on a corpse unsuccessfully.
All right, so what's your name?
My name's Mark.
Mark? Nice to meet you, man. Could you just talk about how it all started, what happened, what were you doing before?
Yeah, I can tell you how it started. You know, many people that come to here, you know, people think that there's only one set of circumstances that lead to a man to a place like this or even worse. You know, it's not true.
Yeah.
You know, I've been through a lot, but I hadn't experienced the shelter program. You know, so now I was renting a house at Lakeshore and Dixie, and a friend of mine that I actually got out of the shelter. He called me up, let me know he was at the shelter.
When was that?
This was in the summer.
Summer, okay.
His name was Lucian. He actually stayed at this very shelter.
Okay.
I never came to visit. I knew where it was, but I didn't come to visit. Now, when he told me he was staying at the shelter, I told him I could rent him a room, and that, so, you know, to get the paperwork here, because I'll help you first and last. If you're not aware, that's why most people come here.
Okay.
Because getting first and last together can be difficult with rising rent prices. So now he brings the paperwork to me, signed, so they help him with first and last, and I clean up the room for him, get it prepared, and I move him into a house I was renting. Big backyard, we got a patio, it's a nice spot.
Lakeshore is pretty expensive.
I was there
too.
for 3 years, you know, and now unfortunately he had a drinking problem, drank himself in dialysis and kept going. And at 37 years old, right in my arms, right in that very living room, he drank himself to death. And I watched his soul leave his eyes, and I did CPR on a corpse unsuccessfully, and he died.
Wow.
In that living room. And I attempted to live there for another 2 months and slowly was losing my mind. So I decided that I needed to drop that place and find a new place.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoyed it, the enjoyment of that place ended.
Yeah.
And so now you know, if you want to see how few friends you have, run low on rent, or decide you want to leave a place, you know.
Yeah.
So suddenly found myself, you know, facing a situation. You know, I realized I was never going to be happy in that place at all. And, you know, so I needed to leave. And there's a shortage of apartments in the city. It takes time to find one.
Yeah.
So I came to the shelter program and ended up in the very same shelter that I moved my friend out of. And in some sick irony, moving a friend out of the shelter landed me in one. Not that there's always other paths I could have taken.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that this has been a good experience for me, like any day is. Good, bad, or the ugly. You know, every day that you wake up, you are now the smartest version of yourself that you have ever been. And if you have to pick which version of yourself you should be, you should always pick the one that is the wisest.
Yeah.
So even if there was a version of me that had a big house and money, this version of me is now wiser. And if someone asked me to pick which version should I be, the one with that house, that money, and that security,
Or the wiser?
or should I be this version of me, the wisest I've ever been? I would always pick this version.
Why do you think you became wiser?
'Cause every day teaches. Never stop learning, life never stop teaching. At least that is the case for me. And so I've discovered that I become wiser. Now the thing is, moving forward in life is always about education, you know?
Okay.
A man takes on hundreds of thousands of dollars in university or college, seeking knowledge.
Yeah.
That's how valuable it is. If you have to take any kind of loss, any kind of setback, financial or otherwise, to gain knowledge, is always worth it.
Yeah.
You know? So I have become much wiser, and I gained much more understanding of myself and how I perceive this world by coming into this program.
So you see this as a setback, but like it shows you.
Well, there's a phrase my uncle used to tell me all the times. When you try to attempt to move forward, you're gonna find that nothing is a linear path. Most times, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And every time you take that step back, it feels like you're moving backwards, but you took 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You know, a little failure will make you feel like all your success is behind you. A little success will make you feel like all your failures are behind you.
Wow.
Neither one of them is very rarely true.
Wow.
You know, and oftentimes, the thing is that almost every person that has ever existed, including myself, is held prisoner to the person they think they are by their memories. Your attempt to protect the identity of who you were is stopping you from becoming the person you can become.
Yeah.
I think we're all guilty of that because accomplishment is in yesteryear. Almost instantly, the moment becomes the past. And anything you consider accomplishment is going to rest in the past.
Yeah. Are you a religious person? Very faithful.
Yeah.
Was that recently, or have you ever been faithful?
I was not raised religiously.
Yeah?
I'm not even baptized.
Wow.
You know, I've attempted 4 times in my life to get baptized, and there's a wide variety of reasons they've given why I've still yet to be baptized, even though I seek it. You know? So now that has not happened.
So that's one of your goals?
I wouldn't describe that as a goal,
okay.
but I imagine it will happen at some time when it's right.
What were you doing before you became, once you had the house, you were renting, and before you were in the shelter? Like, were you working? You want to talk about that or not really?
Yeah, I was working with a film company. We shot commercials. I've done commercials for Boston Pizza, the Argos, Walmart.
What was your role?
I started off with production. I was getting in with the technical team. I might go back to that, but right now I'm not doing that. It's slow, and I find my mind state. Yeah, I got through it with a friend, and I don't know if I can safely bring myself in that atmosphere without jeopardizing our relationship. I might make him look bad accidentally, you know. So I wouldn't purposely bring that on him. I don't think it's the right time for me to be in that atmosphere.
I understand.
You know. Winter is a beautiful season. It teaches us that times of rest are not wasted, and that growth and rebirth is often done in unseen places.
Yeah.
And the quiet beauty of this season reminds us times of rest before times of growth. You know?
You want to talk about some of like crazy moment you had in this shelter? Like, what was your craziest time? Some stories that happened to you that people...
Well, I'll tell you right now, you know, I don't know if it's getting me in trouble or not, but I've been in 17 fights in some. Now, yes.
Yeah?
Okay? Yes. Now, most of the time defending someone. You know, I don't really think rational. And
there's a lot of battles
when somebody is in danger and they showed me any kind of love, as little as a grilled cheese sandwich, I just instinctively defend them, you know?
Yeah.
And I've found myself in 17 different fucking alterations, some worse than others.
Yeah.
I'm only counting ones that led to physical violence. You know, which makes me question, because I came into this with intention to help people, and I don't know if I've helped 17 people. But I know I've fought and hurt 17 people. Now, when you ask questions like, did they deserve it? That's a complicated thing to say, you know? You know, if you meet someone today, like you're meeting me right now, okay? Now, you know, I have lived for 39 years.
Wow.
Yet even if we were to speak for a couple weeks right now, you would at most know me for a couple weeks opposed to 39 years.
Yeah.
Now, if a man spends 39 years without being homeless, and then spends a few months homeless, is it even fair to describe him as homeless?
Yeah, I see.
You know, when 1/40th of his life spent homeless.
Yeah.
So do we judge people for how they are in this exact moment? Do we ignore the past? Then why do we even judge it?
Is that something you'd like the people to know when they see, when they think about that?
Mercy belongs to the merciful, forgiveness to the forgiving. Most people seek forgiveness, but don't spread it around a lot. You know, you got to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
You know, give what you want. You want to be smiled at, smile. You want truth, start giving truth. If you want mercy, start giving that. You know, and you know, believe in people's ability to change. You know, for good or worse. You know? And believe that they're going to change more than once. You know, you really got people are so caught up in. Now, here's something they don't teach you as a kid. All lives come with some resets. Yeah. Now, some people's resets don't include homelessness, but anybody been through a breakup realizes that, you know, resets happen. You know, 90% of the companies I've ever worked for no longer exist. Yeah. These are companies that don't exist anymore. Selectech doesn't exist. Yumi Beverages doesn't exist. You know, I can name off more than a few companies I worked for that no longer exist. Yeah. You know, people that have done right by me, that I've done right by them, they're no longer alive, such as my brother. You know, it's life is a lot more complicated than you think, and there's not a person you could ever allow close in your life that will not require some forgiveness in life. We're all need God. Yeah. You know, love is forgiveness. People should seek love, and to seek it, you must give it.
Yeah.
You know? Now, should people avoid homelessness? Is the main thing, okay? Now, a lot of people avoid homelessness by being just users, you know?
Yeah.
They just use everyone and anyone. And so now, if one man faces this and goes in here and another man just manipulates a bunch of people and moves into a place and uses them for the next 6 months, which one should you admire? The one that faced homelessness or the one got out of it by scheming and scamming?
Yeah, the one who faces it.
Yeah. You know, so before you judge a man's actions, get to know his motives. You know?
That's true.
The most important thing in this society, you judge people by how they treat people below them.
It's wise words, yeah.
You know? So now, if you only give mercy to those who deserve it, you have given no mercy at all. If you only give charity to those who deserve it, you've given no charity at all.
Yeah.
And if you only love who love you, you become nothing better than a tax collector.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and you'd be surprised. People I've seen that used to run entire neighborhoods, sleeping on a bus. People that used to be addicted to fentanyl, making $50 an hour, working on a job site. You don't know what someone's tomorrow looks like. You don't know what the yesterday looks like.
Yeah.
You know, people spend too much time judging and then find themselves in the same circumstance. One thing I've discovered from here is that the moments of mercy you get will surprise you.